Carl Jung believed the human mind is not unified, it is divided. What we consciously identify with is only a small portion of who we are. Beneath awareness exists a vast psychological territory influencing thoughts, emotions, and behavior. Jung called this hidden region the unconscious, and within it lives a powerful structure that quietly shapes our lives, the shadow. The shadow is not a metaphor, it is a psychological reality. It contains traits, impulses, emotions, and desires that the conscious mind refuses to accept. Not because they are evil, but because they conflict with the image we want to believe about ourselves. The shadow forms when the ego decides what is acceptable and what must be buried. From early childhood, we learn that certain behaviors bring approval, while others bring rejection. Anger may be punished, vulnerability may be mocked, curiosity may be discouraged. Over time, these rejected traits are pushed out of awareness. The mind does not destroy them, it hides them. This is how the shadow is born. Jung emphasized that the shadow is morally neutral. It is not the bad self, it is the unlived self. It contains weakness, strength, fear, aggression, and assertiveness. Creativity also may live in the shadow, alongside impulses society labels unacceptable. What is repressed does not disappear, it becomes autonomous. Jung warned that unconscious material gains power precisely because it is unseen. The shadow influences behavior indirectly, but through emotional reactions, irrational decisions, and compulsive patterns. When you act out of character, you are often witnessing the shadow expressing itself. One of the most dangerous illusions, Jung argued, is believing that suppressing darkness makes a person good. Suppression does not remove darkness, it drives it underground. A person unaware of their shadow is controlled by it. Awareness, not repression, is the foundation of psychological maturity. The ego resists shadow awareness because it threatens the ego, the identity. The ego survives by maintaining a consistent self-image. The shadow contradicts that image. To face it feels like losing control, even losing oneself. This is why the mind avoids introspection and prefers distraction. Avoidance preserves comfort, not truth. Jung observed that people often encounter their shadow through emotional reactions to others. These may be traits we strongly condemn or admire. They reveal unconscious material seeking recognition. Projection is the mind's way of externalizing what it refuses to see internally. When the shadow is projected, the individual feels justified. Anger feels righteous, judgment feels moral. But projection fractures reality. Instead of understanding the self, the mind fights imagined enemies. Jung believed this mechanism explains not only personal conflict, but social hostility and collective violence. To master the mind, Jung taught, one must reverse projection. This requires courage. Instead of asking, why are they like this? The individual asks, what part of me is being triggered and why? This question shifts power from the unconscious to consciousness. It is the beginning of integration. Jung challenged the idea that morality comes from suppressing dark impulses. He believed the opposite. True morality requires awareness. A person who believes they are incapable of harm is dangerous because they act without understanding their own potential. Consciousness, not innocence, is what restrains destructive behavior. The individual who has never faced their shadow believes they are good by nature. But goodness without self-knowledge is fragile. Under stress, fear, or authority, unconscious impulses surface unexpectedly. History repeatedly shows that ordinary people commit extraordinary harm when unaware of their inner capacity for darkness. On the extreme side, this is seen in the neighbor that slaughters his family unexpectedly. Jung famously warned that the most dangerous individuals are not those who know their darkness, but those who deny it. When the shadow is unconscious, it seeks expression through justification. Harm becomes rationalized, cruelty becomes necessary. The mind protects its self-image at all costs. Shadow integration does not mean acting out destructive impulses. It means recognizing them without identification. Awareness weakens compulsion. When an impulse is seen clearly, it loses its automatic power. The goal is responsibility, not indulgence. The ego fears shadow integration because it destabilizes certainty. The ego prefers a simple identity, good or bad, right or wrong. The shadow introduces complexity. It reveals that humans are contradictory, layered, and unfinished. This threatens the ego's need for control. Jung observed that psychological growth always involves discomfort. The mind resists transformation because transformation requires the death of an old identity. Shadow work feels threatening because it dismantles the false image the ego has built to survive. Many psychological symptoms originate from shadow suppression. Chronic anxiety, depression, resentment, and addiction often signal unconscious material seeking expression. The psyche demands balance. What is ignored internally appears externally as suffering. Jung believed modern society encourages repression rather than integration. Productivity replaces reflection. Distraction replaces self-examination. This creates individuals disconnected from instinct and intuition. When inattention has no outlet, it turns inward as illness or outward as conflict. The shadow also contains positive qualities. Confidence, assertiveness, ambition, and creativity are often repressed alongside fear and anger. When people suppress their shadow, they suppress their vitality. Integration restores energy that was locked away. Artists, thinkers, and innovators often draw from their shadow. They are willing to explore forbidden thoughts and uncomfortable emotions. Jung believed creativity arises where conscious structure meets unconscious chaos. Without shadow contact, creativity dries up. Integration begins with observation, not judgment. The task is to notice emotional reactions, recurring fantasies, and irrational triggers. These are messages from the unconscious. The shadow does not speak in words, it speaks through patterns. Jung emphasized patience. Shadow integration is not a single realization, but a lifelong process. Each layer of awareness reveals deeper material. The unconscious unfolds gradually, as the psyche allows what the ego can tolerate. As awareness grows, reactions lose intensity. The individual becomes less defensive, less reactive, and more grounded. Consciousness replaces compulsion. The mind becomes flexible instead of rigid. This is the beginning of inner freedom. Jung called this process individuation. It is not about becoming perfect. It is about becoming whole. Conscious and unconscious, light and dark, are no longer enemies. They are integrated aspects of one psyche. An individuated person is harder to manipulate. They do not project blindly. They take responsibility for their inner world. External events lose their power to dominate the psyche. The individual responds instead of reacts. Jung warned that societies also have shadows. When fear, guilt, or aggression are denied collectively, they are projected onto enemies or outsiders. Collective shadows create ideology, extremism, and violence. What is not integrated individually returns socially. History, Jung argued, is shaped by unconscious forces as much as conscious intention. When individuals fail to integrate their shadows, they contribute to collective instability. Inner blindness scales outward. To master the mind is not to control thought, but to understand its source. The shadow reveals where energy has been locked away. Integration unlocks it. Awareness transforms darkness into insight. Jung's message was not comforting, but it was liberating. He believed human beings are not meant to be pure, but conscious. The task is not to destroy the shadow, but to bring it into the light of awareness. Jung wrote that enlightenment does not come from imagining figures of light, but from making the darkness conscious. The shadow is not your enemy. It is the part of you waiting to be understood. Master it, and the mind no longer rules you unconsciously. You become whole. If you made it this far, we thank you for watching. And if you would like more content on shadow work and esoteric teachings, make sure to like, comment and subscribe.